Welcome, everybody, to another episode here on the Sitrep podcast. I am your host, Oriskany Jim, and today I am joined by my friend Dylan, down under in Australia. Mr. Dylan, how you doing?
Hi, Jim. I'm doing really good. Hi to everyone listening.
Okay, so today, because people always complain, actually, I'm just kidding about that. It is kind of funny, though. Whenever I talk about Guadalcanal, definitely very interested in the Guadalcanal and the Solomons campaign. At least one Australian member of our community complains that I don't mention Kokoda Trail enough. So today, not only are we playing Kokoda Trail in Valor and Victory by Barry Doyle, but we're playing with an Australian player. So hopefully this will cork the complaints for a little while. So thanks very much, Dylan, for coming and helping us out with our Kokoda Trail battle.
No, thanks for the opportunity, Jim. And we're smack bang in the middle of the 80th anniversary, so it's a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did Tulagi, part of the Solomons campaign, kind of the beginning of the Solomons campaign, literally right on the 80th anniversary, 4 August 1942. Kokoda Trail had actually already been going on, I think, since late July, if I'm not too mistaken. So, and it goes on, I think, until like the middle of November. So real quick, we're going to make this super quick. Let's go over what the general situation in the Pacific is. Of course, Port Harbor's been bombed. And the Japanese have, invaded hell for leather across all of the Pacific. They knocked the British sort of out of the war, at least in the Pacific, maybe not in Asia. With the fall of Singapore, they knocked the Americans off balance for a while with Pearl Harbor. The Americans have been struggling on the back foot ever since then. One key point that does really tie into our situation today at Kokoda Trail is the Battle of the Coral Sea. So obviously down here is Australia. With the fall of Singapore, there's no real shipping lanes for the British to come through. Also, the Suez Canal and the Mediterranean are under threat. This is 1942, obviously, so Rommel's still, living large over there in North Africa. Long story short, take your first shot. The British are generally cut off from Australia. So the Japanese start to try to isolate Australia off from the Americans as well as the British. Their strategy for doing that is to get to a place, so here's New Guinea, is to get to a place on New Guinea called Port Moresby. So if I scroll down here, a little bit of a zoom in, we are now looking at Port Moresby, which is right here. And if they can get to Port Moresby, it's there on the southern coast of New Guinea. That's the biggest seaport. There's some airfields down there. And that pretty much exposes all of northern and eastern Australia to air attack at least. So Japan's first play is this flanking move. They're going to send an amphibious force around the edge, and they're going to do an amphibious landing on the back end of New Guinea, and that triggers the Battle of the Coral Sea, which the Americans win on a strategic level. They kind of lose on a tactical level. We lost more ships than the Japanese did, larger ships. However, they did turn back the Japanese invasion force. So that is sort of what sets up the Kokoda Trail campaign. The Japanese have failed from their large base here at Rabaul to swing around New Guinea and land here on the southern coast at Port Moresby. Now they have to do it the hard way, overland over the Owen Stanley Range and try to reach Port Moresby from their bases here at Buna. So zooming in again, we're looking here at, here are the Japanese at Buna, and here are the Australians down here at Port Moresby. And they're trying to push overland. Red arrows are the Japanese. They get pretty close, and then they're finally turned back, and they're sort of pushed back all the way here. By then, the Americans have landed. It looks like 2 regiments of U.S. Army. In the interim, though, there is this long and bitterly fought campaign along this single foot track, which they call the Kokoda Trail. But both the Japanese and the Allies have an incredibly tough time with supplies, clean water, malaria, dysentery, dengue fever. It is incredibly steep mountains, incredibly dense jungle, sweltering heat. It is, the absolute worst of the worst kind of jungle warfare. And it has reached an almost mythic status, at least among Australian historians, to this day. And I think there are people who try to recreate the march on the Kokoda Trail, like it's a tourism thing. You can go to...
It's a huge tourism thing. Yep,
cool.
Huge. Yeah. The American, the sort of grand backstory is MacArthur's just landed in Brisbane after the Philippines and after the fall of the Philippines, and he's got something to prove, and he basically refuses to take any notice of what anybody tells him about the terrain. He's convinced that he can build a road from Port Moresby to Boona. You're never going to do ever.
It's the year 2022, folks. They still haven't done it. So
he's convinced that can happen, and the Australian High Command doesn't resist any of it. They just sort of go along with it. And I think you nailed something really important, which is that the plan was to isolate Australia, not invade it. Whereas the propaganda, wartime propaganda, was, they were coming and invading. They had a plan to, but they quickly abandoned it because, it's a giant continent, and they don't have as much resources as they need, and they've got a naval war to fight against the Americans here.
The short version is Australia's in real trouble if Port Moresby falls. And this is what makes Kokoda Trail so important.
This is the turning point where Australia turns away from Britain and sort of becomes an American ally, which evolves into the ANZUS, Australia, New Zealand, US thing, and is still in kind of effect today, where Australia is aligned with the US more than the UK, especially because of the way Churchill acted. Okay,
so here is our map for today. Do note for our viewers that north, the map is sort of on its side, north is to the left, and so the Japanese are going to be coming from this side of the map, pushing over here to the right, which is the south side of the map. They're mostly going uphill, because if we go back to our smaller tactical maps, we're going to see that the Japanese are still kind of going uphill towards the town of Isarava, if I'm even coming close to saying that right. They're not quite at the peak of the ridge line of the Owen Stanley Range, these mountains that sort of form the spine of New Guinea. So, long story short, the Japanese are more or less pushing uphill. And elements of the Australian 39th Battalion and what was called the Maruba Force were staged and ready to stop them. So the forces are set up here, but before we get into that, let's talk about our units, because our units are new, mostly, or at least some of them are. So here is our Imperial Japanese, and their support weapons are pretty terrible. Magazine-fed light machine guns. They do have some Hotchkiss. The Type 92, they're basically a knockoff of the French Hotchkiss. So not the best at all. Some grenades, and they do have a mountain gun. The sources I'm reading do have a small amount of Japanese direct fire artillery on the table. Over here for the Australians, again, we have 39th Battalion, or elements thereof, a very famous unit that did a lot of the defensive fighting in the earlier part of the Kokoda Trail campaign. The 7th Division, I don't know how much action these guys had seen so far. I know 6th saw action in Libya and Egypt as part of Operation Compass, and of course we all know about the Australian 9th Division. This is the 7th. I don't know if they've done very much up until now. The Japanese, these guys have been in the war since China, 1937, and they helped clean out the U.S. Marines on Guam. So they have a win against the U.S. Marine Corps under their belt. So, again, not terribly well equipped, but not slouches either. The Australians are much fewer in number, however, they are somewhat better equipped. They have a little bit better support weapons and more of them. And of course, we have some Australian militia here in the slouch hats, and some Papuan infantry, which belong to Papuan Infantry Battalion. These guys started off mostly as porters, pretty much guys who would carry the wounded, carry the supplies. However, once you get up to the front line, every man counted, and they started, giving them weapons and saying, help us out. And one special rule, you guys do have artillery. However, there is exactly one, and I mean one, 76 millimeter mortar that was parachuted in the day before. So you've got 3 mortar barrages, however you can only use one a turn. Because it's not like 3 little sections that can drop all 3 missions at once. You literally have one tube. Any more questions or comments, or are we ready to get going?
One comment on the name.
Sure.
Americans call it Kokoda Trail, Australians call it Kokoda Track.
Aha!
If people are seeing 2 different names, think of like the Oregon Trail, and then in Australia you'd have like Birdsville Track. It's just it's a name difference.
I have seen it both ways, so I didn't know which was proper. I probably just went with the trail because I saw a trail more often.
No, That's fine. It's just an American versus Australian thing.
Americans ruin everything. We already know this. Americans always get it wrong. But we're going to go ahead and get the game going here, and then we'll be back with some gameplay very shortly. So stay tuned. Okay, here we go, folks. The game is now live, and we are going to take our very first shot of the game. Again, I'm the Japanese player. I'm launching the assault. We start off with my command phase. I have no units to combine or divide. I have no off-board assets. I have no one to rally. So basically, command phase done. We go straight to direct fire. I do have a Japanese mountain gun. This is the Type 41, 75 millimeter. However, the good news for the Australians, they are in jungle, so they get a +2 for woods, and they have a +1 for foxholes. Grand total of +3 on defense. Bad news for the Australians, Captain Oshima is commanding that gun. He has a -2 bonus. All right, so I'm rolling 2d6, and I have to add 1 to this roll. And we get a 7, which becomes an 8. That thing is worth 12 points. 1 casualty point, Mr. Dylan, assessed against that hex.
Let's pin one of the half squads.
No, there are no half.
One of the squads. Pin one of the squads.
No worries. We'll pin the guy who is not manning the Vickers machine gun. So that Vickers machine gun is still up. Okay, and then from there, guys, that's the only weapon of mine that can even come close to reaching at the moment. That is going to wrap us up for my fire phase. We're going to go to my movement phase, which is going to be long and tedious. We'll turn off the camera. But we'll be back shortly when the next, exciting part of the game progresses. So stay tuned again. All right, here we are at the beginning of Australian turn 1. I advanced with all my Japanese during my movement phase. And during his defensive fire phase, one of his Vickers guns did knock out half a squad of my advancing Japanese infantry. Now it is the beginning of the Australian turn. The Australians who are pinned down here have now rallied. Dylan's reorganized his forces a little bit. Now he's calling in one of his precious off-board mortar strikes. Again, he only gets to call in 1 a turn because there was literally only 1 76 millimeter tube available to the Australians for this battle. That shell is going to land here on Nabayashi's platoon. So he's in the open, light barrage, 2 dice on the yellow row, and no modifiers because I'm in the open.
Cool. Let's see what we get. A 2.
Oh my god.
Sorry, 2 twos. Sorry, 2 twos.
Oh, okay, 4. That's bad enough. I got
ahead of myself.
So that is 7 casualty points. Okay, Nobuyashi, your crew is toast, man. Okay, guys, here we are near the end of Japanese turn 2, and things are starting to look a little ominous for our Australian friends. First of all, my mountain gun with a -2 leader rolled a 3, a natural 3, against this stack here, and killed, half a squad and pinned down the rest of the squad. Blew up a bunch of stuff here. Then I hit him again next turn, and so this whole platoon here is now down to 2 half squads, 2 machine guns, and the officer, and they're all pinned down, and my Japanese are starting to get very, very close. So my Japanese guys saw that happen. They gave a mighty banzai, and then they started to rush up this slope. The problem is, this is the Kokoda Trail, i.e., it's all uphill, and it's all through trees, and it's all in streams. You take a lot of penalties to your movement in some of these hexes, and I wasn't able to get nearly far enough to assault them. I would have loved to assault this hex right here. Oh my! Everyone in there is pinned down. If I could assault that hex right now, it would be game over. I would slice adrift the entire Australian right wing there. But this terrain, again, Kokoda Trail is all about the terrain. However, we're going to go ahead and record this now because we're talking about Australian opportunity fire. This is the first turn in which a lot of my guys are in the open and within range of most Australian small arms. So I think the Japanese are about to take some casualties in a serious way. Okay, so Dylan, you said you wanted to start from the bottom?
Yep, let's work our way up.
All right, so your bottom hex is right here. Your bottom hex can see nothing because he is 1 hex back from this little cliff edge. That's why I haven't been bombarding him, because right now he's invisible. Okay, same with this guy here in Quebec 11, a little half squad of Papuan infantry. These guys, however, can see a lot. So who do you want to target?
Let's have a shot at L9.
Okay, so as I move into L9, basically through this little gap in the jungle, He walks into oh Lord have mercy, a Vickers gun, a full squad, a half squad, another half squad, and an officer. Okay, that's a lot of firepower. That is a total of 13 points, -1 for the officer, -1 for opportunity fire in the open. 13 points, subtract 2 from the die roll here on the gray row.
Okay, here we go. I got a 7, goes down to a 5.
That is 4 casualty points. Okay, so 4 casualty points. I'm going to knock these two full squads down to half. So I have 2 half squads here. Okay, I'll make duplicates of them. All right, so that stack has now fired. All right, who is your next stack that you want to shoot, Dylan?
Let's go R8, and they're going to shoot at the guys barreling down the road at them in N7.
Okay, R8 I don't think can see very much. Because they're back from this elevation line, and all my guys, and you're more than 1 hex back from that elevation line. So you're waiting for the Japanese to crest 07, 08, 09.
Cool. The other guys can't see because they're pinned. The guys in P5.
Yep. However, these guys can see quite a bit. Technically, so can this half squad. Because that contour line goes down around here, so he can kind of see a little bit of that.
Yep.
They can see Lima 7.
Let's have a shot at them.
All right, you have a total of 7 points, -1 for me being opportunity fire in the open. You have a -0 officer. There's a new guy in every company. So no bonus for your leader. However, you do have -1 for open opportunity fire. So 7 points, add 1 to the result. Subtract 1 from the result.
Cool. A 9 goes to an 8.
Just missed.
Cool.
Okay, it's only 2 points, but you never know. Out of Quebec 5.
Here we go. A 6.
6 becomes a 5. You did 2 casualty points.
Oh, cool.
You got a little baby sniper in there somewhere. Yeah, guys, I apologize. It's tough to see the contour lines because I put too many trees on the map there, but he's on a small, I don't want to say cliff, but the slope continues to rise. He is overshooting all these pinned down guys and all these trees. He's basically shooting right down the slope over the heads of his boys here. These guys he cannot see because they're directly behind the obstruction here in N6. However, M7 is an open hex and L7. M7 and L7 are both open hexes. So believe it or not, this little half squad can see what's going on because he's at the edge of another contour line there that is kind of covered up by too much brush. So I'll go ahead and complete my turn with my advance and assault, and then we will start Australian turn 2. So stay tuned and see how the rest of this game turns out. It is now the beginning of Japanese turn 3. The casualties continue to stack up. Dylan's been doing quite a bit of damage to my glorious sons of Japan. Nevertheless, it's now time to hopefully launch our little Banzai charge and make this happen. So here we go. We're now beginning Japanese turn 3. Don't really have anything to do with my command phase, so I go straight to my direct fire. Again, Type 41 mountain gun, which has been very useful so far. It helps when you have good dice and you put a -2 officer. I'm going to try to hit this hex to suppress them a little bit. Okay, so here we go. 12 points, -2 plus 3, because he's got foxholes in there as well as jungle. You can see the foxholes there. Okay, so I have to add 1 to my die roll. Let me show my dice tray here. Now I need 1 more good roll. Let's do it. Come on. There we go. I got it. My dice are finally starting to do well for me here. That's my adjusted roll. I rolled a natural 4, add 1 for my net modifiers, becomes a 5. On the gray row, that is 4 casualty. Ooh, 4 casualty points on Wright's platoon. I would say
have to lose the platoon and keep Wright.
Well, you can do this. Well, first off, you knock out the guy that's not carrying the support weapon. That's 2 points. And then you can pin and pin. But then you're probably going to get assaulted.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to lose the 2 half squads and trust the officer's pistol.
Right, it is now. Well, he's got a rifle on his back there. Right, it's now time for your Victoria Cross, buddy. because you're about to get overrun by a whole bunch of new friends here. I tell you what, man, guys, I have been rolling well all day. People, tend to crack a lot of jokes on me in Discord about my dice rolling. My dice rolling has been pretty good today, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so that's that bit of direct fire. I'm not doing any other direct fire. It is literally time to draw samurai swords and yell banzai. So here's where Dylan's going to be doing a lot of fire with opportunity phase. So I'm going straight to Japanese movement phase, which is why I have the recording going, because this is where it's going to get pretty damn crucial. Actually, I take that back. There are some guys I cannot assault with. So I am going to fire some guys. This half squad and that knee mortar, which I cannot use in an assault, that's a grand total of 7 points. He is going to shoot. I am not applying the -1. That -1's going to be in the assault. So it's 7 points. Add 3 to the result. Turn on the webcam. Good grief with these dice. I do have to add 3 to the result, though. 2 for woods, 1 for foxholes. So it's a net 6 on 7 points. That is him toast. The knee mortar took him out. Holy crap. Have any other knee mortars? No knee mortar, no knee mortar. No knee mortars. I think you killed most of my knee mortars. I have 1 more knee mortar down here. With a full squad, which was kind of dumb. Alright, never mind. I'm not going to fire him. I'm just going to carry the knee mortar. He sees slinging arms on the knee mortar. Okay, so now I'm going to my movement phase. These guys cannot move because they just fired. So Lieutenant Saito is going to take the rest of what's left of his platoon. Move here to, oh god, 3, 4, 5. He can do it because he has a leader with him. 1 objective hex has fallen. Sweet. I've got the Australian right wing over there to the east. Again, the map is kind of tilted on its side, everybody. North is to the left. Okay, these guys were stuck back here. So nothing happened there. Okay, continuing Japanese movement phase. Oh lord, here it comes. Banzai! Boom. I await your displeasure.
Yes, I will take opportunity fire.
Yo, you think? There's a bunch of Japanese. They're coming out the jungle. It's time to shoot. You can also throw a shit ton of grenades if you want, because you're adjacent. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, let's do that too.
Yeah, you're going to be doing a lot. Okay, so, please tell me this is a woods hex at least.
I think it is.
Please, this is going to at least provide me some... Okay, phew. Okay, good. Alright, so, there's going to be a lot of modifiers here, guys. This is an important roll. So it's going to take us a few minutes, but we really got to go through the motions here. I get turn on the camera here, I get 2 points for being in woods. He gets -1 point for his leader. He gets -2 points for point blank opportunity fire. That is regardless whether or not I'm in the open or not. That's how the rule is written. And do you want to throw in the maximum number of grenades, or you can throw in you can throw in up to 4 grenades if you want.
Let's throw 4 grenades.
So here comes a whole bunch of Mills bombs. Oh my god! It's a desperate defense! It's Victoria Cross time! Holy crap. Okay, so turn on Mr. Webcam again. That is another... So you get to subtract 7 from your roll. I get to to add 2 to the roll. So we come down to a net of subtract 5. Oh my god. My poor Japanese. Alright, so we are looking at 1, 2, 3. No, not 2, 3, because this Vickers crew does not get to use his own weapons, because he's only a half squad with a heavy support weapon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Very good that you moved in those 2, because that moves you from the white row to the gray row. So you roll 2 dice on the gray row, you get to subtract 5 from the results.
Alright, here we go. A 4 goes down to a...
4 goes down to a -1. The table stops at 2, so I gotta take 7 casualty points. Okay, here's how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna turn all 3 of these full squads into 3 half squads. Spread the love. Okay? That was, you see all my 5s reduced to 3s. So that is 6 casualty points so far. I'm going to pin the guy that's carrying the Type 92, because guess what? The Type 92 I don't think can be used in an assault anyway. Because I was stupid and took a Type 92 into an assault. So that gives me a grand total of 5 points left in this assault. So he's pretty much going to lose this assault. Alright, cool. The problem is I'm going to finally expose myself to these guys. He said expose himself. 1, 2. Opportunity fire, I'm assuming?
Yes, let's take some opportunity fire.
Captain McGree is finally going to do something. Alright, he's been hiding behind the lip of that little valley saddle there for a reason. Holy crap, there's a lot in there. I am going to be -1 because open opportunity fire and an open hex. -2, good grief, -3 total. Okay, so 5, 7, 9, 11, 13 points, subtracting 3 from the die roll. This is going to be another bloodbath.
A 6 goes down to a 3.
3 on, what did I say? Yeah, 6 more casualty points. That's kind of easy to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill that whole squad and knock him down to a half squad. Holy crap. That was bloody. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I can't move in that X anyway, so I gotta move into this X. So we're basically gonna double assault. We can't assault both at once. That's not how the game works, sadly for me. But we're gonna assault that unit twice. That's gonna be another freaking bloodbath. Oh man. Okay, let me go ahead and continue my movement phase. Not wasting any time. Okay, 1, 2, because I'm going up a hill. Oh, this is going to be ugly. 3, 4, 5. And again, I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me. Okay, so here we are. I'm assuming you're taking more opportunity fire here?
Yep, with Lieutenant Ryan's platoon.
It's going to be a total of negative, let's see here, -1 for Ryan, -2 for point blank opportunity fire. Are you throwing in any grenades?
I'll throw in... No, I won't throw any grenades.
Okay, I get to add 2 for my woods, so you get to net subtract 1 from the die roll. You have 15, subtract 1 from the die roll.
Cool. A 7 goes down to a 6.
3 casualty points. That's a little bit more manageable. I will... Here we go. Reduce the squad that was carrying the knee mortar, and then pin that squad, because I can't use the knee mortar in an assault anyway. You know what? It's for the Emperor, guys. It's all good. Don't worry about it. 1, 2, because I'm using the trail. 3, 4, because I'm using the bridge. Alright, I'm sure McCleary has something to say about that.
Yeah, he better defend his CO, but...
CO spent all his fire shooting over here, yeah. -1 for being in the open, for me being in the open during the opportunity fire phase. -1 for your leader, so it's a total of -2, and that's going to be it. And then we've got 5 and a full squad with a Vickers machine gun. Oh my god. 13 points, -2.
Cool. Come on, something good. Oh, double 1.
Oh, possible valorous unit. McCleary.